Are you ready to join us on an incredible journey? Our goal is to reach 1 million subscribers, and we want you to be part of it. With your help, we can make it happen. And you could even win $100,000 in the process. So why wait? Come join us today, and let's get this party started. For more details on how to join, go to the description section below. Don't miss your chance at winning $100,000. Subscribe now to win big. Welcome to part 2 of this 3-part series, where you're going to learn about some of the world's most luxurious and complicated watches from Jacob & Company Boutique. In this part, I'm going to share with you some of the watches I've personally picked out for my collection, worth over $10.5 million combined. These watches represent the pinnacle of luxury and craftsmanship and are sure to be conversation starters where they go. So without further ado, let's dive in and explore these incredible timepieces. Hello and welcome to Luxurious Prestigious. Comment, like, and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to have your notification bell on for more updates. Another watch that features an automation is this beauty right here. The oil pump turbine, which is going to cost you around $380,000. At first glance, it looks like the Astronomia model, but in fact, it's much thinner, and the sapphire crystal on top isn't that curved. This watch features a double-axis turbine. Here at 6 o'clock, where one axis makes a rotation in 60 seconds, and the second one makes a rotation in 2.5 minutes. Featuring the fully mirror polished by hand and Jacob Company logo at 9 o'clock. We've got the brush watch style, which is very legible. And at 2 o'clock, you can see the power drive indicator, as this watch does have a 60-hour power reserve, which is plenty if you ask me. I just love all the attention to detail on this watch, which has a total of 510 components. The little better with the brand, the pipes, and the turning wheel, as well as a honeycomb pattern base side. The magic happens here. When you push the pusher against the clock, this is when you engage the automaton and start the animation of the oil pump. The pusher starts the 2 derricks moving, pumping up and down, and when you press it, it charges a power 0 for the automaton and sets them into action. A really well-executed and smooth animation. Something new and exciting. And J. Canco, being a global brand with customers all over the world, I'm sure this appeals to many. Heck, I'd love one myself. The case specification is mostly closed. We've only got the window to see the turbine at all times, as well as the winding and time-setting clocks as you see here. We got a groundless design since you set the time and wind the watch with its flaps separately. So this one is for winding it, and this one is for setting the time. And again, a beautiful window to see the turbine. Another avenue and partner of Jacob & Company is UFC champion Khabib Nurmagomedov. Since the brand loves to associate itself with the best, this one makes sense. The watch case is the same as on my personal Epic X, but here there are quite a lot of changes to make it more unique. On the inner side of the case, we can see the nickname right here, the oil pump turbine, which is going to cost you around $380,000. At first glance, it looks like the Astronomia model, but in fact, it's much thinner, and the sapphire crystal on top isn't that curved. This watch features a double-axis turbine as astrometrical clock, where one axis makes a rotation in 60 seconds, and the second one makes a rotation in 2.5 minutes, and is fully mirror polished by hand. Jacob & Company logo at 9 o'clock. We've got the brush watch style, which is very legible, and at 2 o'clock, you can see the power drive indicator, as this watch does have a 60-hour power reserve. Plenty if you ask me. On the inner side of the case, we can see the nickname Khabib, which is the eagle that is engraved on it. The 2 silver bridges make for a nice frame to focus in the middle part of the dial. We've got Scott's nice hands in the center, indicating the hours and minutes floating over the wheels, gears, gallons, and bridges. And of course, the mainstream barrel here. 12 o'clock at 6 o'clock, we've got a traditional 60-second turbo line. And the case, which I of course love, is made of titanium polished and bead blasted to achieve great contrast between the surfaces on the back. The sapphire crystal is also the custom Khabib logo with its signature and its fight record of 29 wins to 0 losses. This watch costs $98,000 US. And if you're a fan of Khabib and the UFC, simply this blue model is a nice choice for you moving on. We're now going to talk about this beautiful $1.3 million piece of a watch, combining the highest level of gem setting and watchmaking. This is really a pinnacle in many regards. This mystery terminal watch is something I had the pleasure of seeing before it came out. The first time I saw the movement, just the raw movement, I couldn't believe it. I could even fathom and understand it. In the middle of the so-called dial, there's a twin triple-axis turbulence placed back to back. The first axis makes a full revolution in 60 seconds, while the second and third axis make a full rotation in only 2 minutes. A beautiful play of the palace components, which is something nobody has done yet in the industry. There are 2 Jacob & Company logo breeches on the discs, and on top, we've got the real rubies to add a bit of flair to it. A 430 component movement, not just for sure, it does show the time and even gets a total of 60 hours of power reserve, which is acceptable for a complex watch like this. The dial is inspired by mystery watch styles, and you can see the beautiful execution here. The hour and minute pointers are actually these two, and when I turn the flap on the case back, you'll see how time passes and changes. They're both basically green savory stones here, so the inner one shows the hours, and the outer one shows the minutes on the case back. There's also a small window, similar to the one on the oil pan, where you can see this double and triple axis marble rotating. It's a beautiful execution, invisibly set, and it just looks magnificent, guys. I've never seen something like this before on any other diamond watch. I started watching a marvelous watch with a fantastic sapphire crystal that showcases the setting from all sides. You can see it right here. It's a hard watch from the profile, similar to the Astronomia line. But this isn't a watch you would want to hide under the cuff anyway. You may be good since it's so curved. But let me know what you think about this watch. If you like it, would you wear this one? And what do you think about the price of $1.3 million US? Definitely a big buy. What's worry on the diamond set watches? This next one is for the ladies. Although suitable, I think also for men, depending on your taste. This is called the Flor de Jeddah, which translates to garden flowers. This model will run you $560,000 US. And let me tell you why. At first glance, it looks like the Astronomia, but in fact, it's more execution of the case. And you can immediately see the difference in the case as well as in the locks. If we compare it now to an Astronomia model, for example, much smaller and slightly more wearable for a smaller wrist, we have the same vertical movement construction, combining a 60-second flying turbine with the polished titanium bridge in the shape of a beautiful butterfly here. We've got a hopscotch-nice mother-of-pearl dial with balanced hands with a differential, so it's never upside down for the viewer, and spinning turning gemstone flowers, which are neatly crafted. The whole dial rotates on the central axis in 10 minutes, and then we come to the gem setting model. On top of the movement, there are 288 facet Jacob Catch sapphires and 12 kite-shaped diamonds. The hanging flowers, made of multicolored kite-shaped gemstones, are made of savory blue sapphires and rubies. They make a full revolution clockwise on the revolving platform in 10 minutes, while the dancing salad flowers rotate counterclockwise on themselves in 60 seconds. The floral ring is set with 210 baguette diamonds, weighing approximately 3.38 carats, and 5 multicolored gemstone flowers. It makes a full counterclockwise revolution in 10 minutes, while the central ring set with 46 baguette diamonds makes a clockwise rotation in 10 minutes. The biggest challenge of the diamond and stone setting is getting the same quality of stones so there are no discrepancies again. A crown is designed with lofts on the case back for setting, unwinding the watch. This is a very sleek model that is super wearable, and I would definitely love one for myself. If I could even afford this watch, it would be cool to wear it in a pairing with my imaginary astronomy. Maybe this one or the casino, for example. You can see that the case of this watch is beautiful and very complex. We've got the whole middle basically in a see-through sapphire crystal, obviously scratch resistant, and you can see the movement from all sides. There's no middle parts to hold the case, and to connect the locks like we have on the astronomy line, for example. You can really see the comparison here. Also, the logos are obviously much smaller. Really cool 3D and definitely something I would love to own. We go from a gem-setting masterpiece to another mechanical wonder. The first time I saw a double-axis turbulent, a musical box, and a miniature pizza in one watch at Jacob & Company. With time, you get to used to seeing the unbelievable movements in Jacob & Company watches. But once you dig deep into these movements, you really marvel and ask yourself, how the hell did they make this work? This model was made in collaboration with Paramount Pictures. And obviously, we all recognize Marlon Brando here from his role as Don Corleone in the iconic movie, The Godfather. Where do I begin, guys? We've got a triple axis serving here. The dial for reading the time, which again always stays centered in the middle, is really nice and really readable. And then, we have the black like piano with Don Corleone on top, as well as this Godfather plaque on the opposite side of the dial. Making the music, there are two cylinders that turn against its two 30 pin cones, producing the Godfather theme song, a total of 125 notes. Or you activate it by pushing the button here at 7 o'clock with a note on it. What's even more impressive here is that this watch even features a minute repeater. You can see the gong going around the periphery of the dial and the hammers next to the Jacob & Company logo. A minute repeater is my favorite watch complication, and in short, it tells you the time by chiming. You just have to push the lever down at 9 o'clock and listen to the marbles. So beautiful now you can see. Just looking at this watch makes me happy. I love how the dial is floating above all the components. And again, there's no end to the details that you can discover in this watch. You also have exhibition windows from the side of it, so you can see all the small gears and components moving on the side. The bottom of the side as well, and also on the top, where the power reserve for the movement and the music box function are separate. This watch has a power reserve of 44 hours, and the music can be played up to 3 times before you have to wind it again. You wind it all by pulling this 18-karat rose gold violin-shaped crank. Turning it clockwise winds the power reserve of the watch, and turning the violin counterclockwise winds the music box function. The price tag of this marvelous watch is $620,000 US, and there are also other versions available. It's definitely a unique piece. You'll be one of the only guys in the room wearing this, and you can also see the open case back here. You can see all the components, and once you run the minute repeater, you can see how they start moving around. In part 2 of this 3-part series, you've learned about some of the world's most luxurious and complicated watches from Jacob & Company Boutique. These watches are worth over $10.5 million US combined, and they demonstrate the pinnacle of craftsmanship and design. Now that you've made it to the end of part 2, get ready for the final part of this series, where I'll be picking out some of my favorite watches from Jacob & Company Boutique. From limited edition pieces to luxury timepieces, these watches will provide a glimpse into the world of high-end horology. comment, like, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to have your notification bell on for more updates. Stay tuned for part 3.